What's up, everybody? This is Royal with Paternity University, sitting outside once again. Uh, I'm gonna use these beautiful sunny Texas days to my advantage. So I might sit outside and record some more videos outside. I mean, because it's pretty lovely out here. Um, so the previous video where I was sitting outside, I talked about things that I underestimated when I went full-time entrepreneur, and I want to dive into something a little bit deeper, of something that I have not yet fully mastered, but it's something that I'm very aware of, and it's something that you all might be dealing with yourselves, and that's anxiety in business. How to manage anxiety in business. Now, I will say, first off, I'm not a licensed therapist or psychologist or anything of that nature. And then I also haven't fully mastered how to deal with my anxiety in business just yet. But I've got a very good hold on it. And I'll just at least relay some information of what I've learned. So as a full-time entrepreneur, or just as anybody, anybody, parent, student, person getting their master's degree, a truck driver, whatever, anything, but more so especially for entrepreneurs, anxiety is going to sprout up. A lot of things that I was very anxious about for 2024 was just expenses, bills, payroll, all types of stuff that, it gets expensive to run a business, especially if you've scaled it, especially if you want to scale it or you have scaled it. It gets expensive. And so, and then sometimes the daily sales don't cut it. Sometimes there just isn't enough daily sales. Sometimes your line of credit may be tapped out. Sometimes your credit card might be fully tapped out. I mean, I've watched dozens of stories of entrepreneurs trying to figure it out and doing everything on their own and not having investors. And sometimes those funding sources gets completely tapped and you got nothing else. And so I would deal with that anxiety. I did not have panic attacks in my life until I, one, got out of the Army, and two, I went full-time entrepreneur. And that is when I would have the panic attacks. The first one that I ever had was in Tampa, Florida. And it was just overexposure. It was too much stimuli, right? And I didn't know, I thought I was just having a heart attack or something, but it turns out it was a panic attack. And I had more as I would run the business and scale the business and deal with all these things that the business gods throw at you, right? Payroll being 30 to 40% of your revenue, bills here and there, vendors, you might be behind, and then the ups and downs of it. Sometimes you're flush with cash, and so how I dealt with it, or how I've learned to deal with it so far, because I've not mastered it yet, but ultimately, just if you're a spiritual person, just letting go and letting God, honestly, and to further flesh that out. There's some stuff that's just out of your control, and there's some things that are going to happen that test you. The game is going to test you. If you really want to do this entrepreneurship thing, if you really want to do it full time, it's going to test you to determine how bad you want this. And so as it's throwing you those tests, it's stressing you. It's pushing you past a certain stress point that you may have never experienced before. And the anxiety is the result of that, in my opinion. How I dealt with it, every time, I would say this, everything worked out ultimately. Looking back in 2024, when certain things would come up and I would get stressed out about it, everything will work out. It may not have worked out in the exact moment that I wanted it to work out, or in the moments where I was having anxiety attacks about it or anything. In that moment, no, but usually a few days to a week later, it will resolve itself. Sometimes I would be anxious and I would talk to my manager, And she would say, don't worry about it, Mr. Banks. It's going to work out. You know what? I have a feeling that we're going to get this type of sale today. And it would happen. It would happen. She would speak it into existence. And there's such power in speaking things into existence and learning to manage the anxiety. It's going to happen. And I don't think anybody can say they've never been anxious about something or never been stressed about something. It's going to happen. We're human. There are things that are out of our control, but it's learning how to deal with it. Just know that as long as you keep going and you don't give up, everything is going to work out. Everything is going to work out. As long as if you just keep pushing forward, and the problems that you're facing now are things that you're going to laugh at 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. It's all a part of your story. It's all a part of your story. You ever read the stories? I mean, look at Pinky Cole with Slutty Vegan. You read her story. I mean, my gosh, you can imagine how stressed out that woman was and how anxiety ridden she is. And now she's able to speak at college commencements. She has multiple locations and she's doing pretty well. And I'm pretty sure she has different levels of stress and anxiety at the different level, at her new level of business, because there's a higher level of responsibility at what she's doing. And so it never really goes away. It's just how you manage it. And I've learned to just do things like sit outside in the sun and not let it get completely to me. I'm not gonna die from it. If I allow it, obviously, I'm not gonna let that happen. It ain't gonna kill you. It's gonna bother you. And then also another huge thing to mitigate anxiety from experiences that you had is to say, okay, this happened. Why did it happen? And how can I prevent that from happening? What can I do to prevent that from happening again? That's it. That's within my power. Okay. Slow things down. Watch your transactions, etc. It's whatever they are, whatever your anxiety is. Once you get through that situation, take note of what it was and determine to mitigate that the best way that you can. So that's just my thoughts. You know, I love just sitting out here. I mean, the words just kind of are flowing to me freely at the moment while I'm in this lovely sun. And I hope that this message reaches somebody, and it may be the thing that you just needed to hear. I hope so. So thank y'all so much. Like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, the format of the channel may change, but hey, as we grow, you have to change some things. So thank y'all so much. Until next time, peace.